Mafioso.
Rodney Corn, we sit here and debriefing about the 4 immersions and 1 workshop we've just completed in China. Our very last gig for 2018. What a whirlwind it's been. Where do we want to and how do we concisely put into about 3 minutes an overview of what's just taken place in 2018 and how we've finished at the end of this 4 immersions?
Refinement. So 2018 was a fantastic learning experience for us, polishing and honing our ability to teach, our ability to adapt, and the ability to refine what we do down to its absolute basic essentials in order to get the reproducibility that's necessary for people to be successful with it, regardless of where we are and who's in front of us. And I think that was extremely important, and that really, I believe, came to life in the last 4 immersions that we did on this Singapore, Asia, the China tour that we're on right now.
Roddy, I just want to share with the people watching this, because we strive so hard to make it an experience that guarantees that when people go away, they can apply it and get the outcomes that they so richly deserve. And what we're seeing extensively and why we strive for that is because the amount of people who can't apply their craft. And sustainability in this industry is getting harder and harder. So it's really important that we can apply tools and techniques that allow outcomes. So, you put together 3 slides in our day 1 of the last immersion that I think are game changers for our industry, because it really now simplifies, 1, what fascial mobilizers are.
Yep.
2, it actually allows us to understand movement, but also the continuum of movement, right?
Exactly.
That's the biggest thing, and that's I think something that gets lost in our industry, because we tend to want to get into the fads of high intensity or the trends of low intensity or whatever it may be, instead of understanding what the tissues need and how we can get the best result for the tissues. Can we just touch on those slides?
Yeah,
or that slide?
I think the bottom line is, and this goes way back to the NESM days, when I was at NESM and
a couple of years ago.
and having the fortune of working with Mike Clark. But everything is on a continuum, and what we fail to realize in the industry, or we forget, is that everything is on a continuum. Our movement is on a continuum. The way our tissues operate is on a continuum. We're all about a continuum. And what we do is we tend to focus on the area of the continuum that either seems to be the most necessary for whatever activity we're doing, or seems to be the funnest, coolest, sexiest, hottest, whatever it is. And it always goes down that road. But anytime we train too much of one thing, we lose the others. And I think that's where we've come in with SOMA, is that we're trying to fit SOMA where it belongs. We're not trying to be a one-stop shop for everything. We're not the all-encompassing movement organization. What we do is we get people to move, feel, and live better. And that's what we've done with every one of the mentorships that we have delivered, is every one of the people that show up leaves able to move, feel, and live better. And not just able to move, feel, and live better because we did something. It's because they applied the principles and concepts of what they learned, and they're able to they're empowered to move forward doing that on themselves. They now have gained an insight, an understanding, and a wisdom of how I can take care of myself, which is the buy-in that gives them the confidence that they can take this on to their clients.
And Roddy, would it be fair to say that most of the people who are coming to our immersions don't realise how depleted they are themselves until we actually start to go through the awareness side of it?
I think it's 99.9% of the people. We don't, as a whole, we're just not real good at paying attention to what it is that we do, how we do it, why we do it. So we don't understand. We don't understand how we move, and when we're moving, are we moving smoothly? We're very biased. That's just by human nature. We're biased to think that what we do is great, or when I'm doing a movement, I'm great. It doesn't matter whether it's animal flow, it doesn't matter whether it's Viper, TRX, power plate, it doesn't matter where you are, who you are, what we just go through and do it, and we say, okay, I must be doing it right, I must be doing it great. But there's more to it that we need to be aware. We need to hold ourselves accountable as practitioners, as teachers, as well as movement specialists. If we're involved with movement, we need to understand and be able to produce movement and understand the different manners in which we can produce movement, and then how are we, in reality, not being biased, but how are we? I don't move perfect in every scenario, in every situation. I have much to do. But it's being aware of where that is, and then how can I manipulate the tissues? How can I adjust what it is that I do to help myself so that I can perpetuate the move, feel, live better philosophy into my 70s and 80s and 90s, Lord willing.
And, you know, realistically, we're hearing two things consistently. We're hearing pain and pain in tissues, and the second thing is pain in sustainability. And as we keep saying, we are our business card. If we can produce movement that is rhythmical, if we can produce movement that is reasonably symmetrical, not perfect, but reasonably symmetrical, and if we can provide movement that is practical, in other words, it mimics what we do in everyday life and it allows us to have a quality of life, then that movement, those tools, those techniques obviously are effective and are what our tissues need to deliver our quality of life.
And the big takeaway too is also that just moving, and just because you move three-dimensional, just because you're moving doesn't mean that you're going to move better. Just because you change a direction, you change a movement style or a movement pattern does not mean that the tissues are going to move better. So if there's a restriction in your tissue and you don't deal with that restriction, then no matter what you do and how you move, there's going to end up being an altered movement pattern, an altered neuromyofascial control in the system. And that needs to be addressed before we just start getting crazy wild with our movement, whether it's traditional, whether it's hybrid, whether it's progressive. It has to be taken care of. And that's what I think we're seeing more people come to a realization with in their own movement patterns. And hopefully that helps, because then we can start getting healthier tissue. With healthier tissue comes healthier movement. With healthier movement comes a healthier feeling. And with that comes a
clarity
more
of mind.
sustainable lifestyle.
So guys, we don't want to bore you too long. We just want to pass our thoughts on how the year's gone. We're excited with what's going on. We're actually pretty amazed, to be quite honest, mate. We've had a wow of a time.
Very good.
We love being together, and even though it's apart from our families and we miss our families dearly, if I was going to be anywhere, it's certainly with Roddy, and to see what we're creating is fantastic. The future actually looks incredibly exciting. It doesn't feel that at the moment. We just want to get home and get some sleep. But it's incredibly exciting to see where we're going, and it's not just going into the fitness industry, we're getting now starting the potential of going into the medical industry. So that's pretty cool. So anyway, guys, just some points. Have a listen. If it resonates, fantastic. If it doesn't, there's no problems. But if we can help you next year become a better person to move, feel, and live better, please keep your eyes open, stay tuned, have a look at www.feelSOMA.com, because all the dates of what we'll be doing will be on there. Stay well, guys. Bye-bye.